Boys Season 2 is now finally available. All episodes are now streaming on Prime Video. As you know, this season had a week-by-week episode basis. The first 3 dropped on the day of release, but then ever since then, it's been 1 episode per week. This season was highly anticipated by me. I loved the first season, and after the ending of the first season, where you find out Billy Butcher's wife is still alive, and they have a child, but that's actually Homelander's son, I was intrigued to see where they would go next. I read the comic books. I read some of the comic books after I watched the show so I could get more of a background into these characters, and the comic books are even crazier actually than the actual show. Nonetheless, season 2 comes around and I was pumped to see where they would go with the story next. So it's been a while since that happened. The boys are in hiding after the events of season 1. They're partnered up with Starlight and they're trying to still take down Bot Industries, and they're still trying to convince people that the superheroes are not the best people in the world, that they're kind of raging psychopaths. And all that is starting to come to a head. As they're doing this, they're trying to reshape the image of the Seven as well, which has been a bit tarnished because Compound V is starting to become known to a lot more people, and a new hero named Stormfront has arrived on the scene, and she might be either the best person or even worse than Homelander. That's all I want to tell you about, because I know this has been coming out episode by episode, so you probably know a lot of what's been going on, and if that's the case, great, but I don't want to give too many spoilers just in case you've not seen any of the episodes and want to do like a quick binge session from start to finish. I have to say though, after watching this season, I loved it. I think this is a fantastic follow-up to season 1. Although I do like it as much as season 1. I loved that first season. I loved how dark it was. I loved how darkly funny it was. And it really managed those 2 tones wonderfully. Season 2 does a lot of the same, while also adding a lot more character depth to it than the first season did. The first season has character moments in it, a lot of them for sure. But there were points where I thought it could have gone a little further in. It could have had a few more emotional beats to it. There's definitely a lot more of that in season 2. And it's a lot more emotionally powerful than that first season was. It's also a little better written because of that. The characters are well realized. Carl Urban is once again fucking phenomenal as Billy Butcher, but so is everybody else. Jack Quaid does a fantastic job as Huey. You've got Erin Moriarty, who's fantastic again as Starlight. Anthony Starr as Homelander, who's really great. I mean, really, everybody here is great. Stormfront, this new hero, is absolutely nuts. As you watch this season and you see certain things happen around this character, she gets either better or worse in terms of, you know, how you're perceiving it. Actually worse. She gets so much worse. But the performance was fantastic, and I really loved what they did with this character. They did a wonderful job bringing her to the forefront. Is that a pun in there? It's kind of a pun in there. The soundtrack choices are once again really inspired. Once again, there's good musical choices over here. This show has been developed, like I said in the first season, by Seth Rogen, Evan Goldberg. You've got Eric Kripke. These people know what to do with music, and once again, they have shown that wonderfully in season 2. There's some really great stuff. Billy Joel is a big part of this season. I'm not going to say too much about that, but he has a big role to play musically in this season. The way it's shot, the special effects in this one are also pretty top notch because they've upped stuff quite a bit. So there's some really amazingly done sequences. There's a fantastic chase sequence in the early part of the season, which was fantastic. I really loved how they managed to do that. It's on a boat, and then really later on it goes into some other stuff as well. Phenomenal scene. The way it's constructed, the whole season is just fantastic, and I really love how they've, you know, committed to making this, while as crazy as possible and while as gory as possible, also full of surprises and full of heart. When I look at comic book adaptations like this, I'm constantly in awe, because when you have such amazing love and talent which has gone into making this thing, it is to be appreciated. Also, one really well-realized character in this, even more than season 1, was Kimiko, played by Karen Fukuhara. In the first season, she's very mysterious. You were given some insight to her that she's kind of a terrorist, and once you get that out of the way, it's like, all right, where's this gonna go? And in season 2, you get to know a lot more about her. She's communicating a lot more. She can't speak, so she's using sign language. And that led to some really wonderful scenes as well. There's a really great scene between her and Frenchie on a rooftop, which was really sweet. And their connection is wonderful. In fact, of my characters, aside from, I would say, Billy, I think Frenchie's my favorite character. The guy is just really nice. He's really funny. He has some great moments where he's very heartfelt. He has some wonderful conversations with characters, and he really humanizes the team a lot of the times, despite the fact that he's this arms dealer, drug dealer who's, you know, just ready to be ruthless in any second. Actually, I can say that for all the characters. Every one of the characters has sort of traits like that. Mother's Milk has a lot of that as well, even though he's the more hardcore person over there who'll just straight up tell you to go fuck off if something's not working out. But once again, he has a pure heart, and that is what I love about all these characters. That even in the world where superheroes are made to seem like these awful people, which the show goes into a lot more in this time, the show basically humanizes these other people, the boys, as these really nice people, even though they have very shifty backgrounds. As for the superheroes, they're dealing with so much PR stuff, and there's so much of that explored in this season that I was amazed, and second of all, I really like how they've doubled down on how corporate it can get when major billionaire people get involved and they start to mess around with how superheroes act in society, and how things get worse if things are not handled from a public display standpoint properly. Once again, the show highlights how bad that can be, and how, you know, just how business like the whole thing can get, just handling a superhero team. And I really love the fact that they've dialed up that approach and the effect that it's having on people. There are a lot of themes explored in this because of it. There's themes of racism. There's a lot of commentary, political commentary, especially relating to current affairs. And if you're somebody who wants to get away from politics, I have bad news for you. There's a few moments in this which will remind you of some very recent events that have taken place, and, well, that is to be known. So yeah, all that said, I'm gonna keep this a little short. I'm gonna keep this about the same length as my Boy Season 1 review. I absolutely love this season. Please do check it out if you haven't yet. Like I said, I don't want to give too many spoilers in case you haven't. And I'm gonna give The Boys Season 2 an A-. Guys, thank you very much for watching. Look forward to the review of The Haunting of Bly Manor, which will hopefully be up by tomorrow. Looking forward to talking about that in depth with you guys. As always, if you like this, please do subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the movies. Boys are back in town, boys are back in town, boys are